Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play BlazBlue Calamity trigger. In the last episode, Noel Vermilion finally confronted Lychee Fei Ling in regards to her antics, involving Lychee wanting Noel to wear different style clothing. And despite her victory over Lychee, Noel eventually relented on one condition: that she pet Lychee's pet panda, Lao Zhu, to which Lychee ultimately agreed to, much to the chagrin of Lao Zhu himself, as we all witnessed in the other ending. But now the time has actually come to find the truth about Noel Vermilion, which involves us fighting Iron Tiger once again. But we can't defeat him the normal way, and we don't have to lose to him this time. No, instead, like Bang Shishigami, Tao Kaka, and Lychee Fei Ling, we have to defeat Iron Tiger using Bolverk, using a distortion drive and a well, I didn't really remember to check whether or not Noel can actually use one of her astral heat attacks, but I'll just quickly scroll down, and I can't. But yeah, in addition to Fenrir, there is the Thor, which can only be used if the enemy is in midair. But time to deal with Mr. Red Devil, which means drawing on the power of Bolverk. Noel is easily one of my favorite characters to play as, and you will hear me say that a lot. The Tiger is no slouch. No, I didn't want to taunt. Ooh! Jump straight into that, Ooh! Quite managed to get out of that one.
Please don't resist.
Indeed, we are going to, where are you going? Yeah, the problem with using a distortion drive to finish off your opponent is that they can actually avoid it. Good for new players, not so good when your opponents actually do the same. You and your electromagnets. Well, we're going to show you who's the better in this fight. Ooh, and there's the Tiger Power Driver, which is also a backbreaker, unfortunately. And I better, how did you hit me when I was behind you? Good sir. Oh. I can't lose. It's time to win this. Not having you block my attack.
Major violation.
Rocket launcher for a win. Right there. So now it's 2-1. Victory is ours. But this was a very important victory indeed. When I'm fighting, I don't think about anything. I guess that's because when I'm fighting, it's not really me fighting. The weapon in my hands, Bolverk, it does all the fighting. Indeed it does. Without Bolverk, Noel Vermilion's combat ability is less than effective, it would seem. Without it, I'd be pretty useless. I don't think I could even fight on my own. Yeah, pretty much summarizing what I've just said. That's why Bolverk is so important to me. I need it. Yeah, Noel is dependent, heavily dependent on Bolverk, and yet we don't actually know quite just how she managed to obtain it in the first place. But sometimes I wonder, am I really in control? Is it my will that moves me, or Bolverk's? Well, remember what Hazma said about the marionette Nox Nyctores Nirvana and its control over Karl Clover. And then there is the case of the sword of Jin Kisaragi, the katana known as Yukianasa, which is almost certainly another Nox Nyctores. Which explains why he's able to use magic outside of the realm of Ars Magus. But all three of these things actually lead to the conclusion that even though the Nox Nyctores weapons are extremely powerful, the price for wielding them is very great indeed. Am I really myself? I don't know. I've had Bolverk for a long time, but I still don't know. Maybe someone else would know. Maybe Tsubaki.
I see. So you've decided.
And here in the dormitory of the military academy, which is actually pretty elaborate if I do say so myself. The decor is definitely nothing to turn one's nose up at, I will say that much.
Yeah, though I'm a little worried.
But it just doesn't seem right for them to be recruiting students before they've even graduated. Look, Noel, if you're not okay with this, I can bring it up with the brass.
Again, due to the fact that this is a PC port and not a console version, there is a little bit of lag, and unfortunately, my controller isn't quite as responsive as I would like it to be, and sometimes it's a little too responsive.
Thanks, Tsubaki. But if I can do something with my own power, I want to do everything I can.
But Noelle is determined to see whatever it is she's signed up for through to the very end, on her own terms, and that in itself is actually admirable.
Are you sure you're gonna be okay? Jin's squad is always on the front lines. That means you'll be out there fighting in the thick of it.
So this basically means that the Noel have recruited Noel Vermilion to be Jin's ministerial secretary of the Praetorian Guard before she's actually graduated, which is kind of an interesting thing.
I know. I think. But you know, I'll just think of it as an early graduation. 6 months early.
That is actually a very early graduation, indeed. But as far as graduations go, although now that I think about it, I wonder if, given the way that the NOL operates, I'm wondering whether or not certain strings weren't pulled behind the scenes to make this happen.
Alright. I'll stay out of it then. After all, it is your decision, Noel, not mine.
Indeed it is. No matter what machinations are being made, Noel has made her choice.
Tsubaki, I'm sorry.
Oh, there's nothing to apologize for. Just promise me one thing.
Yes?
Promise me that you'll always be the Noel that I know.
That is a very powerful promise.
But I am me.
Unfortunately, it seems to be once again undermining Noel's own self-confidence.
That's not what I meant. I've seen people leave for the war and come back someone else. It can change you.
Indeed, like a certain Major Jin Kisaragi, although of course in reality he wasn't so much changed so far as that is his actual nature. But it would break Tsubaki's heart for her to learn that truth.
Dad was never the same after he came back. Even Jin. He's not the Jin I grew up with.
Again, I hate to break it to you, Tsubaki, but the Jin you grew up with was a social facade of the actual Jin. If you ever met Ragnar the Blood Edge, you would learn of a very different Jin Kisaragi.
Don't worry about me. I won't change.
And, I'm actually tempted to believe her on that one.
Okay.
Am I myself right now? Who am I?
This power. Who the hell are you? You're not in the data.
Yeah, now things are, now there is a little bit more light that's currently being shed on the situation. It seems that, when she invokes the power of Bolverk, Noel Vermilion ceases to be Noel Vermilion. She still looks the same, but she doesn't feel the same, as if she's a completely different person. And even, yeah, that explains a lot. And that also explains Noel's behavior when she's in this state.
I hate to admit it, but I think it's time I take my leave.
Yeah, you might be very powerful, Tager of Sector 7, but even you are truly no match for the full wrath of a Nox Nyctores.
I won, didn't I?
Starting to question that now.
But this isn't my power. Is it Bolverk's? What on earth are the Nox Nyctores?
The answer to that question is one that is ultimately going to have a very, very important impact.
I need to hurry to headquarters.
Yes, indeed, because we still have a rendezvous to deal with. Can't afford to dawdle any longer. But time has come to save yet again. Saving over those previous saves.
Which way was it again? I can't use the radio either. Oh no.
We're back in Ronin Gai, which means that we are going to be fighting Bang Shishigami yet again, and taking him to town, unfortunately, with the power of Bolverk, but that'll be for the next episode. So when we return, adventurers, we shall once again unload the full fury of the Nox Nyctores upon the ninja of Ikaruga. As always, until next we meet.